What's up, YouTube? It's gonna be probably a short video unless I really get into some fish, but I'm gonna do a little quick micro fishing trip. I got two of my ultralights down over there, and we're gonna go to the local pond. So stay tuned, and we'll pick it up there. YouTube, what's going on? Just got out to the pond. I got a micro drop shot set up and this little jig I'm gonna toss around. I've been fishing this pond on and off since high school. Lots of sunfish, some of them good size, lots of little bass, a couple nice bass, catfish, the works, but it's super pressured, and honestly the best luck I've ever had here for the bass have been with the fly rods, but we'll see what happens. I imagine the drop shot with some of the gulp baits is going to be the best. But this is my favorite little point to start on over here, and we'll see what happens. Lots of dead or halfway dead vegetation. This is a little jig by Bass Assassin, a little panfish jig of some kind. It is the beginning of February, about 70 degrees out. Kind of a nasty day, overcast, 60% chance of rain, but who knows, might be good for fishing. Oh, that was a bad cast. Usually I find the little bass right up in this grass along the bank, but I'm also usually fishing here in the spring or summer. Alright guys, I do apologize for how bad the wind was. It's time I invest in an external microphone with a wind guard of some sort. But anyway, this is normally my favorite section of this pond to fish. There's a corner that leads to this point I'm walking up on, and then to the left, which you'll see in a few minutes, there's a cut that goes back into a drainage ditch. During the spring and the summer, the bass are all along this thing. They're usually bedded up. The bigger sunfish hang out over here, and throwing any sort of bait fish or sunfish pattern fly usually yields some chunky pond bass. But today, in the beginning of February, didn't even get a bite over here. So here shortly I'm going to move to a different section of the pond, which you'll see, and it's a section of the pond I normally don't do very well on, so that was very interesting to me. Alright, let's try a drop shot rig. I think this is a Gamakatsu or Gamakatsu. I want to say it's a size 8 drop shot hook. And I got about a 16th ounce drop shot weight. Size 10s work, but I found a little bit bigger size. You can still catch some of the sunfish and also the small bass. But with the size 10, I had too many fish that were just kind of swallowing the hook. So I found this kind of reduced the number of fish you were having to potentially kill or cut your hook out on. So most of the time, my favorite way to fish this pond is with this micro drop shot rig. The downsized baits really open you up to bites from the sunfish, from the bass, I've even caught a few catfish of various sizes. I think I've even caught a turtle on accident. But for some reason today, the fish weren't having it. I had 1 or 2 bites, and near the end of the video, you'll see I'm just casting it out there and setting the rod on the picnic table and letting the wind push the bait around. And I basically just gave up on it for the day and stuck to the jig and a couple other little lures you'll see near the end of the video. But I fully intend to still fish this micro drop shot next time I come back to the pond, and just hopes that today was an off day. The biggest bass I've ever seen while fishing this small pond came crashing out of the water on the bank opposite for me across this cut and chased a bluegill fully out of the water onto the bank, ate the bluegill, and then flopped back into the water. One of the coolest things I ever saw. The bass was probably about 5.5 pounds, but that's big for this little pond. And I still never caught one that big. I think I've caught about a 4-pounder out of here when I was in high school. And the pond was a lot less pressured back then. But I hope that bass is still swimming somewhere in these waters. After not getting any bites on my favorite side of the pond, I've moved to the opposite end where I typically have never done well, and throw the drop shot out and I'm just letting it sit, and I'm still casting that little Bass Assassin's panfish jig, just hoping for the best at this point, thinking the video is going to be a bust. Fish on. Nice little sunfish. Look at that. That is a nice sunfish for a park pond. The majority of them in here are about 2.5 to 4 inches long. This guy, I want to say this is a reddy, or he's just kind of off color. About 2. Down here we get a lot of reddy or bluegill hybrids, and they get the biggest around and the longest. So I'm gonna let this guy go. You can see my hand next to it. Caught him on that little Bass Assassin jig. And I got a hit on this rod. This rod's got a Berkeley Gulp trout worm on that drop shot, and I just chunked it out there. Nope. I'm gonna throw this one back out there. It kind of does the work for me anyway, especially with all this wind. And I'm gonna keep throwing that jig along some shorelines. I fished this same corner of the pond a little longer without any more bites, which is odd because brim are usually stacked up, and when you find one, there's usually multiple of that same size. But the weather starts to look bad, though I don't end up getting rained on. I end up moving back towards where I parked. There's a little concrete dock, and usually right off this dock there's a giant school of juvenile sunfish because people will come to the park and throw bread in and stuff like that. But I couldn't even get any bites from them today. So I don't know what was going on. Maybe it's just the time of the year. But hopefully the next time I'm here, the sunfish will be out to play. Another fish. Little bass. It's a bass. A largemouth. Yeah, there's some big ones in here. All right, buddy. I caught that bass on a white beetle spin that I've had since I was in junior high. It's so old, the artificial lure part of it is almost falling apart. I think that's the first time I've ever caught a fish on it. Turkey got him a fish over there. Got just a few minutes left before I have to start walking back across to the truck. God, I can't stay out of this grass. I figured I'll be dead. I've moved on around to the back side of the pond and only have a few minutes left to fish at this point. I've never caught much back here. It's protected from the wind, but even the sunfish usually don't hang out around this bank for some reason. I think I've caught a few warmouth back here, of all things, but just figured I'd give it a shot today. Oh shit, that is a snake. Walked right up on it. Y'all see that? I think it's just a water snake, but nearly stepped on him. Y'all see that, YouTube? God damn, that scared the crap out of me. Whew. I think it's time for my last cast. Alright, last cast. Well, it just goes to show, even though if you think you're just at a city park, always watch where you walk. Well, that's going to do it for this video. Anybody's got any pond tips or tricks or suggestions? I'd love to hear them. And stay tuned for more videos. Man, that's a good sized snake. I know he's alive. Just trying to get him to swim off. There he goes. I don't think he's venomous, but man, I'm glad I didn't step on him. Whew. Alright guys, till next time.